Yai is a special name in the multiverse that Hoyo has created. It is a name that reverberates through the branches of the imaginary tree and carries many emotions with it. Because Hoyo loves to reintroduce characters and is subtle as a brick when doing it. So it is no secret that when we see a pink-haired fox lady strolling around the world of Planarcadia, many people have instantly fallen in love. And I'm sure that Star Rail only players are kinda confused as to why people react to this character that we are supposed to know nothing about, like they do. But trust me when I say that we know a lot about this lady already. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you who Evanescia is as a variant of a long line of Yais. Because I believe by delving into these details, we could get some clues as to what her role will be in the story going forward. So without further ado, this is Evanescia's Origins Explained. Okay, so in the Hoyoverse, Hoyo likes to reuse characters like Sela, Branya, Himiko, Kevin Castellana, Pardophila, Sue, May, you get the idea. But in this, Yai is innately unique, because even from her appearances in Honkai Impact 3rd, she appears 3 times. And let's pretend these two aren't the exact same Yai, okay? The one on the left is her sister Rin, and the one on the right is a flame chaser, so let's pretend this was Dark Bolt Jonin, okay? I couldn't find a picture with all of them together. And she's also in Genshin, but that Yai, despite being a Miko or a Shrine Maiden like the original Honkai Impact 3rd Yai, is rather mean and not at all like the others. And yes, she is mean. She got the Traveler possessed by her dead ancestor just so that she could be petty to said ancestor, but that's besides the point. Because Evanescia doesn't even really look like her, she looks like her. And her. And her. And yes, she is a fox, not a rabbit, and just by knowing this, you should know that this is going to be tragic, because Hoyo really hates fox characters. Jiao Cho, Fei Xiao, Yukong, Ting Yun, heck, even Miyabi too from Zenless Zone Zero, they really can't catch a break. And Yae Sakura was the starting point of all of this pain, because she didn't do it first. She did it 3 times. Yes, in Honkai Impact 3rd, Yai appears 3 different times and is kinda 3 different people, and it is through these 3 different characters that we can pull some details into considering what Evanescia will be about. Let me explain. Alright, so the first Yai is from Kevin's memory turned into a bubble universe, the second is from the main universe, and the third is from an alternate dimension. So starting off with the bubble universe Yai may sound weird, but things will make more sense this way because chronologically speaking, this one comes first. Because this happened 50,000 years ago, and I'm sorry if this triggers some PTSD, but Yae Sakura was a flame chaser. And during this time, humanity was in dire straits and the Honkai had already destroyed all but a few cities, with the flame chasers being the last bastion of the world. But the problem was that there was a new Hersher manifesting inside of a human host. And to quickly explain what a Hersher is, well, it's a parasite sent from the Honkai to infect a person and feed on their malice towards humanity, and when they get strong enough, they take over the person's body, transforming them into this demigod-like being that is then capable of destroying all humanity. Which wouldn't be a problem if the Honkai wasn't so good at choosing the most downtrodden people to make Hersher out of. The Honkai does not play fair. But on the bright side, if the host can win this inner struggle, they can take the power for themselves and just live on. Which is how the 3 main girls came to be. It's all about winning that inner struggle. But it is not at all easy. You really gotta love humanity to win this battle, or you are doomed. And in terms of powers, all Hersher come with different abilities, but this one was probably the most broken one. You'll see later. So going back to the story, the Flame Chasers were ahead of the game because they had narrowed down the potential host to select individuals. The problem being that one of them was Yai's little sister Rin. And the only way to stop the Hersher before it pretty much explodes with Honkai energy and power was to kill the host before it takes over. So Yai begged and pleaded on her sister's behalf, but the worst possible outcome happened. Not only was Rin killed, but she was also the host of the Hersher of Corruption anyway, which is pretty much the most broken one to exist because it survived anyway despite its host dying, and before being sealed into a black box by Dr. May, hacked into the main base, killed Yae Sakura, and launched nuclear bombs at the last 3 remaining cities on Earth. And that is how the first Yae died. Looks familiar, doesn't it? And the way we learn about all of this is from a bubble universe created by Kevin's memories, so this is what happened all those years ago. Fast forwarding many years later, during the events of the main story, Yae is able to come back through her memories contained within the Elysian realm, but she, along with the memories of the Flame Chasers along with Elysia, end up sacrificing themselves to kill off the Hersher of Corruption once and for all. So technically this Yae dies twice, and both times to what is basically Iron Tomb. But I guess you're wondering, how is it that the Hersher of Corruption escaped being sealed in that black box? Well, that is answered by this Yae's story, which is the main universe Yae's story, who is a shrine maiden. Now, this story is set in the Callan Castellana days before the three main girls were born, around 500 years before that happens. And Yae Sakura, who was blessed with a natural stigmata just like Sela, lived with her sickly sister Rin, and they lived in a horrible place. Because when their village was struck with drought, their village would sacrifice children. Yeah, Hoyo games were dark back then. But it gets worse, because not only was Rin chosen to be sacrificed, but her father forced her sister to deal the final blow, and this understandably ruined Yae Sakura's psyche, causing her to harbor resentment towards the village she was sworn to protect. Sometime later, Callan Castellana, who washed up on her village's land, is taken in by Sakura, only for her to be saved by Callan when a Honkai beast overpowers her. And afterwards, she kinda just swears to stay by Yae's side forever. And despite the shipping implications, things went wrong quick. Because when Callan arrived in Yae's village, she had something with her. A black box. The same black box that all those millennia ago sealed away the Hersher of Corruption. And the box was cracked. So it begins to escape by first assaulting Yae's mind, more specifically feeding on Yae's resentment towards her village, and ended up possessing her. So Callan, equipped with the Oath of Judah, had to fight her, and Yae ended up ending herself out of not being able to bring herself to fight Callan. So Callan seals her away for hundreds of years, only for her to reawaken to help a clone of Callan, Teresa, fight off an enemy that was about to kill her. The poetic justice being Yae finally technically repaying Callan for saving her all those years ago. Who is Teresa? Well, Callan died, auto-crashed out, made clones. Teresa is one of them, and also the wielder of the Oath of Judah. So after Yae saves Teresa, things get weird. She is dragged into a stigmata world where Yae gets tortured by the Hersher for many cycles, Castellana style, and Teresa helps her beat back the Hersher. So Terry gets to go back to reality, and Yae gets her sad but sweet ending with Rin and Callan in the stigmata space. But this was not the ending of the Hersher of Corruption, though that thing was a roach. But this does conclude the story of the main universe Yae. So yeah, Yae tends to die a lot. By this point, she's technically died 3 or 4 times by now, depending on how you count death. Because again, the Flame Chaser Yae is brought back in the Elysium Realm story and then got deleted. So that's technically a death too. But this is where things get fun, I promise, because now we get to talk about Yae Kasumi. And this Yae story is set in an alternate universe, the same universe as Haxor Bunny, who is clearly Silverwolf's inspiration. And long story short, Yae fights Brawny, loses, and they gain a mutual respect, resulting in Yae teaching Brawny how to traverse through different bubble universes that I think results in both of them being playable all the time. They basically escaped the event that they were in and became canon characters. Yeah, this one's a bit unserious, but it's an event, so yeah. Yae Kasumi is the only one that is still alive, but I'm sorry to say she is a clone of the real Yae Sakura of that universe, because the Callan of that universe made clones of the real Yae Sakura. So yeah. Yae keeps having to suffer. The name Yae and suffering are synonymous. Fun fact, but more like a reminder, Silverwolf is playing this event as Brawny in her trailer. But I guess you are wondering how this has anything to do with Evanescence. Well, judging by the way Hoyo likes to write things, we have some clues as to what she will be like. Because we can eliminate the Flame Chaser Yae because Jiaoqiu already made that reference, and Hyacinth filled in the pink-haired Flame Chaser role, though she is a lot more like Yae Rin than Sakura, which is really interesting. But anyway, this leaves our elated Fox Girl to be something similar to the Shrine Maiden Yae and Yae Kasumi. And I say this for 2 reasons. One, because this may just explain why she looks to be possessed in the short clip from the 4.0 trailer, and two, well, Haxor Bunny Brawny is clearly Silverwolf, and we see her flying in the air with us with Blade and Silverwolf in the trailer, so I think this means we will be traveling together at some point. Also, there is a concerningly high possibility that she dies. Everyone is worried about Himiko, but poor Evanescia over here is a walking death flag. Her name means something that is fleeting or fading away, and she has died many times in the past. Her inspiration is literally a character that can't stop dying. But considering that it was the Honkai Impact 3rd version of Iron Tomb that killed her all 3 or I guess 4 times, she might be okay. We don't exactly know yet. I could be coping, but at least you know where Evanescia's design comes from and why people love her as much as they do. She does her best, but is often placed in horrible circumstances involving her sister and ends up sacrificing herself one way or another. She is a victim of her circumstances in every possible way. But if Rin is involved, we should be good. So be on the lookout if Evanescia references having a sister, because if she does, we are in trouble. For example, if her reason for trying to become Aha is her sister in some way, oh, we are in deep trouble then. But if not, she will probably end up helping us and Silverwolf out a lot. Am I coping? Am I paranoid? Is the Amphoria's trauma kicking in? Maybe, but only time will tell. Because this is Evanescia's Origins Explained. I told you guys I was going to need a full video to cover all 3 of her lives, and this is why so many people are so excited to see her again. She is a tragic and conflicted hero that never really got a chance to be happy. So maybe, just maybe, Star Rail in this world of Elation is a place where she can at least live. But according to the info we have, it's not looking good. If I had to guess, she will be a fusion of the Shrine Maiden Yae and Yae Kasumi. She wants to become Aha to help her sister and allies herself with Silverwolf along the way, but it won't end well for her because it never does. But other than that, I am hyped to see what we have in store for this pink fox, because regardless of her many death flags, she is always a lovable character. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.